Hello, this is AnYPony, and welcome to the second half of Chapter 75 of Project Horizon by Somber. And with me for the second half as well, hiding over there somewhere in the shadowy dark, is DCP. Welcome back, DCP.
Thank you for having me, and the Enclave thanks you as well.
You're welcome, all. I don't know, how many people are there still left in the Enclave? A few hundred? A few thousand?
Well, technically, if we go by the Fallout standard, and not count Fallout 3 because that just confuses the system, there should be at least one patrol somewhere in the area around where the prisoner is. That's the Lost Patrol. The Alaskan Division, the Division in Chicago, and the group that was sent to not Washington, DC, but Washington, the state.
Mm-hmm. So
everyone else is dead or scattered.
In numbers, somehow around.
It depends.
I don't know how. Okay, fair enough. And a few Pegasus in the sky, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, Chapter 75. Yeah, because I have a tendency to talk a lot. Do you want to start?
I started last time, but I will start this time.
Okay, go ahead.
I think we started this pretty well. I do admit, I took a little more liking to society compared to the Reapers. Just sort of this build up to them.
Mm-hmm.
And having to see Charity stay behind and fight with her soldiers really it made that battle feel like they would do that, because if you do see the general on the field, you do feel more powerful and more willing to fight to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Plus seeing not Diamond Dogs, Hellhounds always makes me think of Deathclaws, and when I think of Deathclaws, I think of Hellhounds. They do feel like they are killing machines.
They pretty much are. So, but yeah, I have to say this was really a moving part with Grace overcoming. I mean, we still got Splendid, who pretty much acts like we expect him to. Yeah. He is the noble, cowardly douche who is running away. But then again, he kind of expected his sister to stay after all because he brought the sword. So
yeah.
And it was really like...
I'll try to convince you, but I know I can't.
Yeah, but I really liked it, especially to see that there is good in the society, because so far they were this kind of...
They're nobles.
Yeah, but with... On the one hand, they weren't too bad from the beginning. I mean, there have been worse factions in the Hoof, but they were not really the likable ones. And Grace was always some kind of silver lining. And yeah, she turned out to actually be a noble in the real sense of the word, not just one from good blood.
Yeah.
I liked it. And
I have to wonder. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, go ahead. You wonder? You have to wonder?
I have to wonder what exactly happens to Grace. I called it Charity, my mistake. Right after she gets shot? Because hasn't she lost both her back legs now?
I'm not sure what happened to her back legs, but she definitely got her horn cut off.
Yeah. Also, something about Cyberdog, but I think I read that wrong.
No, it wasn't the Cyberdog. It was Hellhounds. The Hellhounds pretty much had to leave AnYPony in the original Fallout when the Balefire bomb went up, or the Mega Spell.
Yeah, I know that.
And Blackjack met them again at the space station in the Hoof.
That's right.
And that's where they stayed, where they also faced off against the Brood the first time, before the Brood became became active. The Brood, yeah. And they stayed there at this station, at this air station, and in this chapter it was like there was this balefire, this green light thing going on. So this was the station where they once again got thrown out of their house by battle, and now they are welcome to stay in the society. Oh, they got the happy end finally. After being abused by ponies for 2 centuries, they finally are welcome to stay somewhere.
Hopefully. Because based on the 10 years later, there's still all that stuff for the Hellhounds.
Okay.
We have to take that into consideration if you want to stick to your 10 years later theory of how Horizon's going to end.
Yeah, I can't recall what did it say about Hellhounds in the 10 years later chapter.
Fluttershy is going to meet with them to talk about returning to Mariposa.
Ah, okay. So I guess it's a nice balancing act.
Has happened because they were now transferred to somewhere else where they needed them to move so they could move back to Mariposa. So either she went to society, or they've been kicked out of society, or something's happened at society that's going to happen later.
Or maybe it is really that they are not really comfortable in the society. They enjoy being welcome for once, but still AnYPony is their home. Those were their caves they lived in for a long time. So who knows? We'll see what Somber will do about it. And if he actually will recall that part, because as I forgot about it, who knows?
You forget I know just trivial facts, don't you?
Well, he did a rather good job so far, keeping small details in mind and staying very accurate to the original plot, even so some people will disagree and say that he changed too much around, but depends how you want to see it. I still go with my fanfiction of a fanfiction argument. So
okay.
And now we reached the scene, the infamous scene, which caused
caution. We'll even put it in the story, so as you read, it says, "Wait, what the hell does this mean? Why do I want to skip?" Oh, it's the stupid caution message. It's meant to be highlighted.
But the thing is, you mentioned the disclaimer before I actually sat down and read it, and the disclaimer was like, "I'm sorry for all the people who were offended before I put this disclaimer up." So actually, apparently somebody was flipping the shit already when Somber was like, "Okay, I'm putting a disclaimer there." So
it's clearly someone who hasn't played Fallout.
On that matter, I am completely with Somber. Like putting up a disclaimer. Yes, it is kind of for somebody who isn't offended by it directly. It is like, okay, you put I can see why he puts a disclaimer there. The part that annoys me about it.
Sorry.
Exactly. The part that annoys me about it is that, first of all, it is a little bit spoilery. I mean, you already speculated who it might refer to, and it turned out to be. Yes, it was. You're right. And the second thing is that this is kind of necessary. I don't know. I mean, it is. We are over 70 chapters into this mega story, and we already had a chapter of an actual graphical rape scene.
I wouldn't really call that graphical.
Yeah, I mean, it's still not a clop. It isn't a clop fiction, and
I should say some of the stuff I read, you would definitely not think that's graphical.
No, it is not, but it is rather graphical for a story that is for the major public. I mean, clop is a rather specific, a rather specific genre that should be kept separate from the mainstream. Yeah, but just keep it separate from the mainstream, and therefore it was as graphical a rape scene as it can get within staying mainstream. But we are 70 chapters in. We already had that scene. Who is still left to be offended by this? Also, she's a teenager, but as long as she is mature enough and consenting, I don't see an issue, to be honest.
You have to remember that in our past, that used to be the actual age of consent. Back before we had modern medicine and extended lifespans.
I know. This is a fair topic, a can of worms in and of itself, but somebody who is offended simply by the fact that she is a minor is like, guys, grew up, honestly. Yes, there are laws, and the laws have to draw the line somewhere, but those laws are there to protect the minors in question. But if there is no protection needed,
then why should there be?
Yeah, I mean, in this case, you have to look into this case and be like, okay. But it's this weird mentality. But nevertheless, the scene itself, it kind of made sense considering the background of Scott Shape. And
yes, she's a stable 99 mirror after all.
Yeah, and I was actually, when she was like, I would have been on the queue next month anyways, I was like, oh, I believe, yeah, she hasn't got a stallion yet. He just got a few of mare on mare action, I believe.
Or possibly training from colts.
Or that.
I did bring this up to you when we weren't talking that this could be possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. I mean, it was mentioned somewhere, but I can't recall in which chapter it was precisely. So, yeah.
I'll have a look for them.
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably just get like a message later today that's like chapter X here. It's like,
No,
what's that for?
yeah.
Then you go back and read it.
Yeah, this is pretty much how I finally figured out the scene we got Twist when we found Twist corpse, because Vector and I couldn't recall where and when it was, but then somebody dropped the link and we were like, there it is. Oh, that's actually right. So we got Twist's corpse ages ago.
Yep. I have to say, I'm pretty happy that Sombra added more of the Lunar Blackjack mind melding thing in this chapter. It was much better set out and it was much more, what's the word? Not emphasized, displayed?
Yeah, maybe it's just that now that we grew aware of it, we are able to appreciate it more and pick up on the small hints better.
Yeah, and that she basically outright states that Luna's a pervert.
A voyeur.
A voyeur.
I'm not sure if a voyeur is really the bigger pervert than Blackjack, who literally fucks around. Oh, I loved this part when it was like, at least I'm not screwing around like this whatever. This is kind of archaic insult. And Blackjack is like, hey, wait, that's me. I mean, she used to be this kind of schizophrenic character because there was a goddess in her, then other characters, and now she got her schizophrenic split personality back. I'm glad about it. I like split personality.
That's always fun.
But yeah, this scene, I found it good that there was a little bit of closure now between Blackjack and Scotch Tape, and
it was nice.
Yeah. Then why did she go back? Oh, and of course when she tried. Yeah, because when she when she tried to go back in.
Every time she got one of their memories.
Yeah, exactly. And then now him. This wasn't real.
Though, mind you, I think that could have been completely removed and it would have not. Wait, that could stay in there. There was another scene that should have been. There was that beeping scene. Do you understand that at all?
I believe it was Glory. It was to be. I believe there have been those hints in the last few chapters.
That Glory's still alive.
Those hints about a mystery patient X and everything, and now, especially with the last line of this chapter, it is now revealed she is alive, and she will probably
she's alive and healthy.
Healthy. How did Blackjack describe it? Worse than death, a state of constant pain.
In my opinion, if you're in the wasteland and you're alive, you're healthy.
Fair enough. Even so, there are worse things than healthy.
1 HP and full radiation poisoning.
Yeah, but yeah, there are worse things than being healthy. I mean, just consider the legate at the end of the chapter.
Yeah. I have to say, at first I thought he was going full master for a second there, and mutating into what the master becomes in Fallout 1. I'm happy they sort of pulled away from that.
Well,
personally, I don't think Sombra's got the right to use as being similar to the master for the legate.
Yeah, and I'm still not sure if he even knows the master. So,
well, if he understands what the goddess was, I bet he could take some ideas from that.
Probably, but yeah, the goddess has already been the master, so.
But the way Sombra writes,
he is probably more some kind of anime abomination, because after all, he took a lot of his inspiration from anime,
true.
Once again, with the giganticness of everything at the end of the chapter, with the entire city turning into one big construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very anime.
I find it funny though that his entire plan relies on Celestia 1 firing. Did you notice that?
And yeah, without the energy beams, he would not have been able to lift the Ether up. Yeah.
Imagine what would have happened if they never got that to work, or they misfired and it missed the city completely.
Yeah, good question actually. I mean, Horizon was about to fire. The clock was ticking.
Yeah.
And yeah, Celestia 1, most people didn't even know about it besides the Twilight Society. It was an experimental weapon that never got used during the war itself. So how could the Legate have planned for it?
Then again, he's been around for thousands of years, according to him, so it wouldn't be that hard to find out something over a period of 100 years if you go looking through enough books.
Yeah, but he's still dependent on the secret weapon being discovered and reinstated in time that it can fire during the big crucial moment of rising the hoof again.
True. But then again, someone's forgetting about the thing that says the Legate's pulling all the strings, and he got Red Eye to go out and find all of this stuff, which would eventually lead to Little Pip leaving, and then there'll be this huge conspiracy that the Legate is actually God. If we're going by anime logic, which Sombra uses, for all we know, the Legate is Little Pip's father.
Dum dum dum. Okay, no, it can't be Little Pig's direct father, since he would have needed to be part of Stable 2, but he could still be a ascendant or descendant, or which he is. What is he? A descendant? An ancestor, whatever.
He was frozen in time.
Yeah, his body was frozen, which is why how it restored all the time.
Very interesting concept, actually. Suspending the body rather than regenerating.
Yeah. But then the regeneration kind of exploding at the end once the seal has been broken, so to speak.
Then again, to break the seal, you need a massive fucking weapon.
Yeah. Also
not the way we figured it would end.
Also, is this Blackjack sword? Has it been, or is there a second sword? I was confused because I haven't seen Blackjack sword since she dropped it.
I'm assuming it's just another sword like the Brood use.
But I believe at least the one at the end should be Blackjack's sword. But what about the sword Grace had?
That's what I'm assuming is Blackjack's sword. That would make sense that it would find its way into the hands of Blackjack's distant cousin.
Well, then again, it was Boo who brought the sword to the final battle, and we are talking about this cursed star metal heart, and the sword was, I believe, star metal as well, or asteroid or whatever. So it needs to be this kind of weapon. So I would say this is Blackjack's sword, but yeah, I'm not sure if both swords are the same. I'm confused at this point.
So am I. I'm just putting it down to, it makes more sense that the sword they would have, which is this very special gift, would be the one that they would give to Grace, because it would make more sense for her to have the sword and give it back to Blackjack, than for Boo to have it and then use it. But I have to say, that was probably my favorite line in all of Project Horizon. I'm a pacifist, so pacifist the shit out of him.
Yeah, right. I was wondering
the shit out of him.
Yeah, I was wondering which line you were referring to on Skype earlier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this was a great line. Also, this actually we are kind of screwing over the chronological order here, but I don't care. We are on it now. So why did it need to be Velvet's to cut to make the cut? I mean, okay, she is. There was this line about we need a precise surgeon and stuff, but come on. Everybody, there were more than enough capable people on this roof. Why does the one pony who is not willing to just make a clean, quick cut has to do the clean, quick cut? I mean, seriously.
I think it's to do with the fact that Velvet was the only unicorn on the roof.
What about all the alicorns?
That's a point.
I mean, this is.
It might have something to do with surgery, for all I know. Maybe you have to cut in precise spots.
But this was an argument they brought up that it needs to be surgically, but in Entertech she cuts something, then it slips back in anyways, and what? It was a little bit hard to follow, I have to admit. But okay,
for time, and he's just sort of put that in there as a MacGuffin.
Man. Or I can kind of assume that maybe Somber wanted to include the members of the original cast because he was struggling that people called his earlier representations of Velvet Remedy not good and not in character, and probably he tried to rise up to the challenge and be like, I can write her, I will do it.
Yeah. Then again, you have a problem keeping your own characters alive, mate. Or dead in the case of you.
And then it's big reveal. It was so over the top. I'm not sure if Zenith with the hood being there, not doing anything until she gets officially called into action, and then she lifts her hood and is Zenith, yay! Like,
yeah, you're back into the story.
Yeah, why not jump in earlier and help Whisper before her wings get crippled? Just a suggestion at this point. I mean, they arrive rather late, admitted, but nevertheless, was a little bit. I think
that was kind of a sort of cheesy way to defeat the Legate. Was a pony cannot defeat the Legate, a zebra cannot defeat the Legate. So if you combine them both, that is really anime logic, there, isn't it?
No, or Lord of the Rings logic. No man can defeat me. I'm not a man.
I'm just a woman dressed up as a man. Therefore, technically, I kind of am a man.
Defeated by a transvestite. My only weakness.
Cross-dresser.
Whatever.
Cross-dresser.
I'm not good with this kind of terms.
But don't you judge me. But speaking of the Whisper stuff, we did skip over that. Yes.
The Whisper chapter, or the part. I liked it for a lot, but then... the singing.
Yes, he'd been killed.
This is first of all the singing, and then it was also like I have rather recently 1 or 2 months ago I finished the first season of the Lunarverse, which is for those who are not familiar with the Lunarverse. It is basically the re-narration or a complete reimagination of My Little Pony, even with seasons and episodes and stuff like this, just with a slightly different main cast since spoilers, so tiny spoilers because, the Lunarverse has one big difference to the Canonverse. 1,000 years ago, a certain other Alicon went mad and... her sister had to take over. So this is the main difference, and they do a nice job really letting even key events from the main show reappear, like Winter Wrap-Up, Grand Galactic Gala, and. So they play a nice parallelism there, but they also do it with songs, and this is the one thing that kind of
songs
work. Songs work in movies. You see, in movies you have the option to use songs as non-diegetic, so they are not actually happening. They are a stylistic theme. They are used in order to make a montage and move stuff along. They are a visual trick. It is not that characters actually start singing and dancing in there. I know that there are some people who actually promote the idea that ponies literally do that.
Which is quite interesting.
It's not diegetic, it's a stylistic... But yeah, people come up with those theories that there's a magic
in some countries, you do conga to go vote.
Yes, but this is just something different than those spontaneous jumping into musical numbers with choreographed dancing and everything.
That's true.
And this is the thing that Somber actually subscribes to the idea that there is this magic in music. I'm like, it is such a stupid concept. And it doesn't, you can use it for fun and stuff, but to make it a serious part of this kind of dark and gory story is just like, fucking serious, especially if you consider those singing diegetic and not non-diegetic. This means that Whisper and Stygius seriously spiraled up there just to be shot, to be in the line of fire, which...
It's the same problem I had last chapter, wasn't it, where P21 died for no reason? Wait, did you have your headphones out the entire time I said that? Oh. So you've got the same problem I do, where it's pointless deaths for pointless reasons.
It's but not when the reason is. I mean, there is a pointless death, and there is a death happening because you try to emulate a stylistic theme from movies that was created for movies and maybe theaters into a. This is a audio-visual medium, and not a novel is a written medium, a print medium, and not an audio-visual medium. So don't put songs in there. This is the one big thing I constantly had a problem with in the Lunarverse, and now Somber's doing it. Why, Somber? Seriously, why? You saw so far, the thing that was the hardest for me to wrap my head around in the entirety of Project Horizon was that they actually introduced astrology, or the one with not the superficial one, but the science actually about stars and movements and cosmos and so on.
Yeah.
Astrology or astronomy?
Astronomy.
Astronomy is the actual science. Astronomy is actual science, and astrology is hocus pocus.
I'm not sure myself, so I'm just going to go along with what you say.
But yeah, introducing this into the magical world of Equestria with an actual sun orbiting the planet and stuff like this. This was already a messed up concept. Now we have diegetic singing.
Yeah. Mind you, the sun originally did orbit the planet.
But yeah, besides that, a very sad, a really sad thing. I mean, Stygius was a fan favorite. How can you kill him?
Really? I always found him as a nice side character. It didn't seem like a fan favorite.
Really? Have you been on DeviantArt?
No.
Okay. Yeah, but people love Stygius. Stygius is a Coco Panel of Project Horizon. Just
Coco Panel.
Coco Panel, the one from Rarity Takes Manhattan, which
yeah, she's
barely had
one appearance compared to his.
Yes, but then
it's
again, Project Horizon is they are both characters who are rather quiet, nice little characters who are huggable characters. But thanks to the fact that Stygius can't really talk, he is not so much of a vocal person, but a character people simply like, just a likable character. And
I can agree with that.
Yeah, not too edgy, not a big presence, but just there. And so that's where I drew my comparison from. Maybe not the best one, but
I like how the king got turned into a, what are they called? Mortar? What is howitzer, whatever they're called? Where you basically point and shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
That was quite funny. Yellow word, massive ball of death.
And please use actual words. The mother is amazing. I love the mother.
Yeah, that actually might have something to do with the spell, though. The word you say gives the power energy.
Yeah.
So saying an official word or proper word actually makes it more powerful than just spouting out something like pineapple, and then the ball of energy flies out.
Then again, pineapple would probably be worth a try. I mean, consider the shape it would probably take. It would be a far more edgy and hurtful shape. So,
true, but based on what we saw, they were all the same sort of spheres. So I don't really think a change of shape based on the word.
He hasn't tried it yet.
True. That's something for you, Sombra. Next chapter, just have him yell pineapple for no reason.
And we see what happens.
Yes.
But yeah, everybody who is not sure what is up with diegetic and non-diegetic singing, check out Gibbon Takes Philly Vanilli review. At the very beginning, he explains it rather well.
How much did he pay you to get that in here? How much did he pay you to get that plug in?
Oh, I don't know. I'm paid with. It's pretty much where I looked up the word earlier. Don't you judge me.
Okay. I'm just wondering,
Because I
it seemed
knew
like a really sort of exact person to go look for this argument.
I'm a fan of him. I looked this entire thing. I know that this concept exists because I actually did learn it in college, but I forgot the word. But I recalled that Give and Take talked about it. So I went through his channel and picked it up because I saw his video when it came out.
Okay.
Yeah. I also recall that Silver Quill at some point picked up Give and Take's String of Swords, but I cannot recall when Silver Quill did it, so I didn't look for it. You don't know who Silver Quill is?
Don't think so.
Oh, okay. He is one of the probably top 10, top 5 biggest MLP analysis channels. The Hippogriff.
I have to look through my the Hippogriff. Oh, here's the purple and black guy who appears in Brony Box videos.
No. That's an actually Griffin, and that's Scan 120. No. Silver Quill is a Hippogriff who has the ass of a horse and not the ass of a lion.
Okay. Nope, sorry. Not ringing any bells.
Okay. Probably should check him out because he's really, really funny.
That's based on our forms of humor.
Probably, yes. Yeah. And the legate, he was semi-defeated, or at least his...
He's been stopped.
He has been stopped in his previous form, and now he reached his final form. Play and
final form. He's probably going to merge with the Eater, and that's going to be the final form.
Also possible.
Or worse, he's going to merge with the Eater, and then he's going to separate from the Eater, and that's going to be his final form. Or worse, Black Jack's just going to spare him.
No. Then again, I just wanted to say then again, he is now mortal, but he turned into some gigantic multi-limbed abomination, didn't he?
Yeah.
It got a little bit hard to follow it.
Force regrowth has caused him to mutate.
Yeah, and they talk about a giant hoof and stuff, and many, many tiny hooves and...
Yeah, this grotesque blob of parts.
Yeah. We'll see.
Which probably means he's come into contact with a fair bit of FEV.
Probably. Since he didn't care about it, he pretty much absorbed it all.
And given that probably explains how he's able to regrow limbs, similar to how Little Pip's able to regrow them. If she's exposed to enough radioactive liquid.
Yeah. Good point.
That's probably how that's explained.
We'll see. I probably wait for somebody who has a little bit more graphically running mind to take all the descriptions and turn it into a visualization, and then I can be like, now I have a picture to focus on when the final battle starts in the next chapter. But so far, he pretty much
start the next chapter.
Yeah, but pretty much so far he reminds me of I believe Sogos is the name, the H.P. Lovecraftian big slime, formless slime monsters, which,
Yeah, all I can think of is the Master, to be honest. Because the Master was literally just a blob attached to an overseer's chair.
But yeah, that's the thing, he was a blob now, and the Legate actually has a lot of limbs. Probably more than are good for him.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see how that's going to work out. So back on the ship now, if we're going by continuity.
On the ship now, did a lot happen where they Blackjack and Scotch Tape had their talk?
Yeah, and then Bastard tries for the next quarter of a chapter to explain why it's not weird that he had sex. Did you notice that Sombra took a decent portion of the chapter and just kept going, oh no, it's not bad, it's all consensual. It's like, I won't do it again, I'm going to erase this from my mind. It took a very long time just to cover his ass, basically. Sombra, you just tried to cover your ass. It was overdone, and you can remove it, and there would be no change to the chapter.
And it still hasn't been enough, so he still needed a disclaimer.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about this in the beginning.
Yeah, it's all just BS, to be honest. Though I do like to see where Bastard holds Blackjack's blank body hostage.
Yes, I liked it as well. Like he's not going for Blackjack or anything. No, he's going for the blank, which is
more vulnerable.
He's not exactly, and he's not threatening anybody's life. Currently the blank is basically, just a very flashy tool.
Yeah.
Since there is no one living in there. I mean, it's not even like the blanks we saw earlier, like Boo, who are moving around a little bit and at least acting like some kind of beings, if not conscious ones. But this one is just lying around like a puppet.
Yeah. Speaking of Boo here, there's one line that confuses me. She says at one point that Daddy gave her a sword. I'll see if I can remember.
I believe she said that Daddy gave her taught her to be very.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it. Daddy told me to be very careful with people.
To be on the edge or something. That I believe it was like that the entire appearance was cut very close to the moment they were needed. It was like they arrived at the last second, the last moment, and she was like making a play on words on the fact that she brings a sword which has an edge, and that Discord taught her to always arrive in the last.
Hasn't she been referring to Discord as Uncle Discord, not Daddy Discord?
Not sure how she did, but basically she was created from his blood, so Daddy is also rather fitting description.
Because I remember when they were in the core for the first time, when they first encountered the Legate, back when Paige was starting to get back her memories, Boo is referring to when she's in her form that it's Uncle Discord. Well, Discord still possesses her, but then that sort of changed to Daddy. I'm wondering, was that just an oversight, or have I been reading it wrong the entire time?
I'm not sure. I can't recall how she referred to him earlier. When she called him Daddy in this chapter, I didn't really. I knew instantly who she was talking about, so I didn't question it. But yeah, it could be that she.
Double take.
Maybe she had a different nickname for him earlier. I'm not sure.
Yeah, like I said, this could just be an oversight.
But yeah, so. Anything else about this chapter you wanted to talk about or to bring up?
Not really, actually. This is a pretty well put together chapter. It's short and concise and finishes off what we needed to know so we can get down into the main battle.
And the three separate scenes we got were all rather big and meaningful and intense. I mean, the battle with Grace, as I said, it was really like when she... This is funny. I could completely picture her, how she strays through this hall and everybody is rising and following her, and they move through the portal in this probably V-shaped formation and out into the battlefield. I could totally picture that, and it was like, whoa, goosebumps.
Yeah, it was.
And except for a certain singing moment, I also like the other one with... which had also a good pacing, and you had a good way to visualize what was going on and happening. At the end, I have to say I had often enough struggle to understand what was happening with the structure, how it changed and stuff. This is always the problem is once again with being so inspired by visual media. When you try to describe, I'm completely guilty of this myself, I want to say at this point. I wrote a novel back in school, and this novel had also very much suffered from the fact that I'm a person who likes to watch a lot of television, and I tried to describe typical tropes and scenes you come across in TV shows and movies. I wanted to put them into novels, but you have to write a novel different than a screenplay. And here, once again, Somber probably had a very specific image, what is happening. He exactly knew how it looked, how those spires build up and rise. And he tried
if it ever gets made into a movie, it's going to look awesome.
Probably, yes, probably. But the problem is here he could not. He described it, but it was on the one hand vague. But if he would have gone too much into detail, it would probably have been very long and just a chapter describing how those pillars move and how they are connected to each other. So he had to find a balance between keeping it vague and. It was a little bit confusing in the read, but then again, the chapter, or especially this last part, was intense enough with the legate. Even though there were a few sacrifices down the way, I wasn't really sure about if they were necessary. Like with, what is it, Kakashi? No, Kakashi is an anime character from Naruto. With the mother, the zebra mother.
Yeah.
Why didn't all of them strike stronger, and why did Lancer not fire away from the distance in the legate's head to keep him? I mean, the entire brood becomes pretty much helpless once the legate is out. So all the Elecons, the Lancer, and everybody should just keep focusing on keeping the legate out of order, and instead, they start to fight him one-on-one and let him regenerate and spread their firepower and everything. I was like, sure, for the plot,
it might have been a delaying tactic.
But once again, it costs the mother. The mother was killed. The daughter, the one, Majiri or whatever, was nearly killed and just survived by luck. Who else? They didn't get Golden Blood out of there, which was also like, come on, he was wrapped in a cable. Then I was like, there are a lot of Elecons and Unicorns with magic. Why not just unstrap him or cut the cable or anything? Then they do exactly that. Salm lands there, remove the cable, and then the legate grabs him again. It's like,
God damn it.
I know. I know that it is necessary for how the story is supposed to continue, but if you have this goal where it was supposed to end, namely Golden Blood getting dragged down into the void, and maybe showing the drasticness by killing off a character or other, but you still have... The problem is, it should still feel like you shouldn't have the feeling that if they just would have done it otherwise and smarter, then they would have gone away with it. Just so the
it reminds me of Twilight shooting the Pinkie Pie clones. That could have been handled a lot differently if you move. I'm going to kill you.
Yes. This kind of like when you have your goal, you have your eye on the goal, and you kind of force the story to do some really strange moves or take some really strange steps to reach this goal. But yeah, once again, it was a very intense part, and enjoy the fighting. It was more like, not a masterfully put together choreography, but a very enjoyable action fighting scene. So
it was much better than it had to be.
True,
this could have just been another chapter about just landing on the planet, getting orientated. He went the extra step and made this a decent filler chapter.
Yeah, because calling it filler chapter. You know, some people want to have closure about the side characters.
I admit I liked the filler with, not Charity, what's her name again? Grace, that's it. I liked that, and I liked the fight with the legate. Those were two things that were needed.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, in the last chapter, if this chapter had been 75, this is chapter 75, isn't it?
Yes. Part 2 or B or whatever.
Yeah, part B. If this had been the chapter of them going back to the planet, I would have been perfectly okay with it. You could have had the stuff with Big Daddy and the Reapers and all that going on in the background and getting reports of it. But if this had been the filler chapter, I would have been okay saying this is just a done chapter. It would have been another Blackjacks in the core watching everyone to get a wrap-up of the post Sky Tower fall.
Mm.
That would have been great.
So basically, if it would have been only part B, you would have been completely fine.
Yeah. You could have taken parts from part A and mixed them in, but part B was where the flesh of what was going on was happening. It's where all the information is given to you. We now know the legates have commission. We now know that most of the brood are dead. That's all very good.
Mm. True. Oh well.
He got it right in the end.
He got it right in it. Yeah. Even so, also, I still have a problem to picture the eater. I mean, he has a giant eye and he has a giant maw. But wasn't there also this finger he used to flip the building away or something?
Yeah, I get the feeling he's kind of like the Thresher Mole.
Thresher Mole. This rings a bell.
Is that Star Wars, I think?
Sorry, it's the?
I think it's that thing from Star Wars, isn't it? That giant pit?
Ah, okay. But yeah, it was more like tentacles and the thingy. Like, the problem is the eyes and the maw I can work with. I visualize a beholder-like entity in front of me.
Yeah, it sounds like something from Lovecraft.
But yeah, once again, I love Lovecraft. But the finger to snip away that doesn't fit. Now I see this green monster from Monster Inc. The sidekick of the big fuzzy one.
Mike.
Yeah, I see. Now, because there are fingers, I see Mike in front of me for the eater.
Mind you, it could be that he was able to morph his body and make a finger, and then the finger turns back into like goo.
Probably, but yeah, now I have this image, and it needs to be rewritten because this is a very silly image.
Actually, that'd be a very funny picture that you should get your friend who does all those other Flight Equestria Project Horizon comics to do. Where it's just sort of the eater comes out and it's just Mike standing there.
A little bit of anticlimactic, but I like it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Just fire a bellfire bomb in its mouth.
Yeah. But yeah, once again, a thing we addressed last time kind of came up in this chapter with Luna becoming more and more present within Blackjack.
Yeah.
How is it all going to end? Because 10 years later, if Luna would be around, this would be mentioned.
Yes, we said this last time.
I know.
have a theory, and it's a very shitty theory because it's most likely going to happen. Luna's spirit is going to leave Blackjack and take the Eater with her. Have you ever seen the anime, or the animation Spirited Away, Final Fantasy?
Yes, I did.
In the end of it, where the main male protagonist puts his spirit into the... What are they called again? Phantom?
I believe so, yeah.
I get the feeling that's going to what's happened with Luna. Luna's going to become fully active, and her spirit is going to be what destroys the Eater.
I actually was kind of seeing Blackjack as a whole going in there. They do this kind of surrogate spell to get the babies out there and put them into grace. And Blackjack does the final sacrifice, and she defeats the Eater from the inside and doesn't survive herself. That's pretty much my current guess.
That even adds more. I just realized that would add even more prevalence to my theory that the surprise is Blackjack's child. Because wouldn't it be a surprise if Grace had an alicorn baby?
And this baby would be who then? Luna or no?
It would be Blackjack's child, which I theorized in the last video we did.
Yeah.
Will turn out to be an alicorn because Blackjack's body has been morphed into an alicorn, so it might have been morphed as well.
Possible.
And that's how he's going to tie Blackjack into the 10 years later.
Ah, okay, yeah. That this alicorn is
minor character. Yeah, because that was just a minor character that was just showing up. It's like, oh, hello, surprise. How are you today? It's like, look what I can do now. I can make a bubble shield.
I'm still not convinced of that one, especially since I believe Surprise was too young to be Blackjack's kid.
That's
true.
But
I agree with you. This would be a very forced creating a connection. So I really hope he's not going for that.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. You got anything else? I'm pretty much done with my notes.
Other things I could mention. I like how they used the Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
That was quite a good little trick. Sending that through the irradiated remains of the Celestial on fire to gain energy and then fire it directly into the Legate's face. That was a pretty smart tactic.
Yeah, they always were good in using what's her name?
Firelight.
Yeah, Firelight in a very tactical way. Oh, and
She's more of a beast tamer than she's a medic.
well, she is truly Fluttershy in spirit.
Yeah.
But also, the moment she glanced over to Whisper and was like, huh?
Yeah.
But haven't those two met before? I guess they should have, shouldn't they? With all the meetings that happened before the final battle.
I think so. Then again, you can't really tell who meets at those parties.
But then again, if you see the reincarnation of your biggest idol, you probably should recognize her. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, that she was actually called Fluttershy by someone in this chapter. I believe by Teneper as an insult.
No, by one of the Flash Phillies.
Okay. But yeah, if we don't have any big major points to discuss anymore, I would say...
yeah, I have ideas.
We are clocking in with nearly an hour, so...
A short chapter for a short podcast.
Then again, it was only the second half of a chapter we already spent 1.5 hours talking about.
That's true, we got rid of all the stuff there we need to talk about.
Exactly. So yeah, I would say, was nice having you once again, even so you were barely visible down there in your dark corner. And
it's actually on the side of my bed.
Hiding in the darkness. You really, if you intend to do more podcasting in the future, you really should consider the investment in a webcam.
This is a webcam.
This is not a built-in.
No, it is a built-in webcam.
Yeah. Oh dear. Nevertheless, was nice having you. I would say this was a good discussion, and yeah, we are probably one final chapter. I'm not sure if the final battle will be one chapter or maybe two, and then
I'm going to estimate we got one chapter to reconnect with everyone, one chapter to set up the fight, one chapter to go to the fight, and then the final battle.
I would say we pretty much got most of the fighting out of the way. I say next half chapter will be, arriving, setting up, connecting, getting the babies moved into a new body. And probably, Somber is probably planning to have the fight in the next chapter, but he will get hung up on details. So there will be one chapter after, which is the actual fight. And then we got one short chapter for the aftermath, and then an epilogue and probably 1 or 2 specials.
Yeah, and hopefully 10 years later, so we can see what his rendition of Equestria looks like.
That's an interesting thingy to tie in the other one, 10 year later thingy.
Yep.
But yeah, I would say let's keep it at that and say, this is AnYPony saying see you soon.
Goodbye.